It's TEDA time.
Living in Terrebonne, living in Terrebonne. You sure won't want to miss it, and I'll bet that you'll revisit living in Terrebonne.
Local Terrebonne Parish Economic News.
Hello and welcome to this edition of TEDA Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And we're always glad to have with us for our TEDA Time Ms. Catherine Gilbertario. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me today.
All right. Joining her is Mr. Jeremy Boudreau. Jeremy, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Of course, Jeremy is a SkillsUSA Louisiana State Director, so we're glad to have you down here and all the work that you do all over the state. And Catherine does so many different things with TEDA.
Absolutely. You know, we work in partnership with so many different organizations. And one of the areas in which TEDA works is workforce development. You know, that is where we try to match the skill sets that business and industry needs with the skill sets available in the labor pool. In this case, what we're talking about is the high school students and the efforts to train them and bring their skill sets up to a level that is valuable when they hit the workforce. By building a labor pool of qualified and certified people, what we're doing is enhancing the opportunity for businesses to hire and retain their workforce.
Yeah.
Incredibly valuable in the area.
They become an immediate, really good applicant.
Absolutely.
Right? For lots of different work options.
That is the goal in workforce development. And so with skill sets always changing and technology always changing, this is a constant need is to work on workforce development and skill sets. In this case, you know, we're talking specifically about high school students and getting them more prepared as either high school students to go into internships or apprenticeships, or upon graduation to either go directly into the workforce or to go ahead and improve their skill sets through secondary education.
Yeah.
One of our other partners tells us right now, the Louisiana Workforce Commission, they have indicated that there's about 3,500 jobs in our region that can be filled through the skill sets being taught at Terrebonne Parish School District's Lewis Miller Technical and Career High School.
Right.
Those areas that are being taught there include automotive body repair and technology, cosmetology, diesel mechanics, electricity, nursing assistant, emergency medical responders, industrial machines, the ProStart food services category, as well as HVAC and welding. And so all of those career fields are being taught in our school system today. And my guest today, Jeremy, is here to talk about an opportunity he's bringing to Lewis Miller this spring, which will showcase those skill sets of our students and students around the state.
Yeah, you know, interestingly enough, and just over the last 40 years or so, how well we've developed these better skill sets at looking at what people really need. You know, back then people could go to shop and that was about it. And they learned some minor woodworking. And it really didn't teach the specific skill. It just kind of showed them a little bit about what woodworking was, or how to use a drill press, those kinds of things. And now we've come so far. And so, Jeremy, this is really exciting to see how far we've come, huh?
Yeah, it's really, really exciting. I mean, I think our area more than any needs the development. With SkillsUSA, I mean, we are one of the number one workforce development organizations in the nation, really.
Right.
Basically, SkillsUSA is America's proud champions of the skilled trades. It's a career and technical student organization, and we're not just students, but we're also industry. We're also educators. That way, we have the whole workforce building together on our side. Some of the industries that we have, as far as the national level, is some of the greatest in the industry. Snap-on, the American Airlines, Lowe's, Toyota. They're all pushing for the same thing she just talked about, is career development, workforce development. There's such a shortage everywhere in the skills gap that they understand that this is the need. And that's kind of what we're bringing to the
Well, I always love the idea that somebody like TEDA wants to partner with somebody like SkillsUSA, because they're always looking at where's the need, how do we fill it?
Right.
Right? Constant needs assessment, and how do we fill it? And I got to tell you, this is just really exciting for people who are much more hands-on than they are mental or cognitive learners. Catherine and I, thank God, we were those people that really could think through things. But we had a lot of people in school that they kind of got lost because they struggled with really doing that book knowledge or computer knowledge. Whereas if they had some hands-on skills, they could have come out immediately and gone to work. And that's the goal.
It is the goal, and what we see in our community is an ability for the school systems, Lewis Miller, Fletcher, Nichols, to work with business and industry to help develop those career paths and provide the training that is oh so needed in our community.
And they get this really good framework in high school, right?
Absolutely.
We get people who are a little bit more self-aware about what their strengths are, and we have an option and an opportunity to build on that. Oh, this is one of your strengths? Why don't you think about doing this? And then they can try it and see if they like it or not, right? And then they may be able to go right into the workforce or go on to some a little bit more education. And so again, I am thankful for TEDA for always doing a good needs assessment. Very thankful for SkillsUSA coming and going, hey, we can fill that need.
Yeah.
We can help train and educate and do that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get a snapshot of kind of some of the people that are doing these programs in the schools and really how they're expressing that. So that's exciting. So y'all stick around, will you?
will.
Right. We want you to stick around as well. We'll be right back right here on TEDA Time.
It's TEDA time.
Tune in to HTV10 for some TEDA Time. On this show, you will learn what's going on in Terrebonne Parish with Cohen B. Guidry and all of his special guests that he brings along.
Local Terrebonne Parish economic news.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of TEDA Time. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker right here with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. Very glad to have with us Miss Catherine and Mr. Jeremy. Thank y'all for being here again. Jeremy, tell us a little bit about this upcoming event. This is something that's pretty special. Tell us a little more about it.
So coming up is our championships. Basically, it's the capstone event of the whole year. It's what all the students are kind of working for. It highlights their abilities and their talents of what they've been studying all year. So you take any one of the 110 areas that we do at nationals, we do about 60 here in Louisiana. Stuff like automotive, diesel, almost every area she's talked about earlier.
So masonry here?
Not in Terrebonne, but in Louisiana, yes.
In Louisiana, gotcha.
We do masonry, we do firefighting. Some health services like nursing, first aid, EMT. We have welding. There's some CNC that we kind of dabble on as well. Just every area of technical skills.
Yeah.
Video production, photography. It's all there into some capacity. It's just amazing to see these kids go and start doing their skill. You mentioned how it developing their stuff and all. Whenever they start to do what they're comfortable with, it just builds their confidence. It builds their self-esteem so much. Right. So whenever they start to do these things, it's like they just phase out and they focus in on their stuff.
They get so focused on that. And amazing that 110 nationally, and that here we have 60 of those, right? I mean, more than half of what is available, which is fantastic. All of these different options for people to really start to, ironically enough, explore where they want to be, right? They kind of get to try out these different work options. And it's just really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's great having this competition return to Terrebonne Parish as well. It's a good opportunity to showcase what's going on in our schools, to really show the facility, to show the quality of students that we're turning out. But it's also a really good opportunity for business and industry to get involved. There's a networking involved. I spoke with a company just a couple days ago that was at the partners kickoff meeting held last week at Lewis Miller. And he said, they've been involved, they're going to stay involved. Part of the reason is because they kind of get to go in and network with the students, and they find their next employees, their entry level installers right there at the competition. So they can either hire them as a part-time during the school year or wait till they graduate, hire them full-time. But it's an opportunity to really kind of start looking at that workforce availability.
Yeah, and again, you get to kind of get your eyes on some people, and you get to see how they're doing what they do, right?
Exactly.
Right, and so when's the event?
It's going to be in March.
In March, okay.
Yeah, end of March.
End of March. So we've got a while for these kids to kind of really develop their skill set, right, and being able to do that. And so looking at March, and we'll bring that information to people when it comes, and so we'll make sure that people are aware of that. I know you guys are going to kind of do your part in making sure that all of these businesses are aware and know.
Right.
About
We
the
want everybody to
competition skills.
understand, the importance of bringing this opportunity here. Something we don't think about, but with every event that comes to Terrebonne Parish that isn't normally occurring within our borders, it really opens up our community to people who have not seen our community before.
Right.
It's a good opportunity for tourism. I mean, frankly, we'd love people to come to the 3-day event and then stay for the weekend, taking a swamp tour.
Right.
They're going to have dinner at some of our restaurants. They're going to stay in our hotels. So there's a little bit of economic impact associated with any event that's brought into our community. So I tell everyone, if you're a member of an organization, talk to leadership. When can that organization come to Terrebonne Parish? Because it does bring a good economic benefit and then interest people in coming back for more visits.
Yeah, if you got somebody that's got a division of their company here, but maybe a smaller division, let's say out of a larger city, Houston, we know that there's so many people from Houston whose, mother companies in Houston, but they have offices down here. Invite that leadership.
Absolutely.
Because you may find somebody who wants to go in your area. You may find somebody who's very competent that wants to go in whatever area you need. You may be able to find the workforce that you need right away. And quite frankly, that's what we're hearing. We're hearing that there's really such a shortage in this service industry of being able, and these technical industry, to be able to provide these services. I love the videography and the film option that people have. That's just really cool, right? They film so many different movies down here. That's an option for people to be able to maybe go right into the skill set that they've learned, right?
Yeah. One of the students did a quick video snippet last year of Ellender High School, and they kind of went through the campus and all, and they highlighted the tragedy that was there, and they kind of interviewed one of the custodians, and they only had that one day to prepare, that one day to film, edit, and kind of put everything together. And when you watch this, it was a professional production. I mean, it really was amazing. It kind of hit home for a lot of people because they saw that tragedy. They saw the inside of that, Ellender with water damage and those kind of things. So it was just the things that they can do in a short time.
Well, and again, rather remarkable to be able to take and somebody who experienced part of that and be able to really play that forward, right? We don't pay it forward, we play it forward. And the expertise in being able to do that, and somebody that's got some God-given talent, right? And builds on the talent that they've learned as well. And then you've got a great combination of somebody who's got some interest, they've got some knowledge, and now they've got some good learning and education with it. And that's just going to move them forward. So remarkable to do that in one day. Speaking of doing things in one day, thank y'all for being here for one day. We're going to keep going. We appreciate that. We're going to take a short break. We'll come right back. Stick with us. A whole lot more right here on TEDA Time.
It's TEDA time.
Tune in to HTV10 for some TEDA Time. On this show, you will learn what's going on in Terrebonne Parish with Cohen B. Guidry and all of his special guests that he brings along.
Local Terrebonne Parish economic news.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of TEDA Time. Again, your host, Keith Weiss. I'm very glad to have with us Catherine And Jeremy, talking about all the wonderful programs we have through TEDA, all of the insight that we have in partnerships and making sure that things are going well. But it's all about what the community needs and how we partner with them. Right, Catherine?
Absolutely. Partnerships are the most valuable tool we find in economic development. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about tourism or, in this case, workforce development. Bringing businesses and education together to try to help meet the needs of business really does have a great impact when it comes down to it. The better prepared your labor pool is, the easier it is for them to get the jobs that help to support the families, that allows them to stay employed with those good companies. And we've got wonderful companies in this parish, in this region, and we really need to try to fill those gaps in employment, which we have currently across numerous job sectors.
Right.
So
that's what we're working on. We're working on filling that gap. And again, it's the needs assessment, and it's SkillsUSA going, okay, we can help with that. We can help train with that. Right?
Absolutely.
Tell us some of the ways that we're doing that, Jeremy.
So for the competition, some of the ways that we can use a hand is getting industry to kind of come in and say, we can help judge this competition. I'm a carpentry professional. I can come in and I can see this. This is a good section. This is a bad section. Industry oversight in general, just to help develop a competition so that we can make sure that we're being relevant to what industry needs. We don't want to create something that's not relevant anymore.
Right.
We can also help. We can use help with supplies, donation of prizes to the students and those kind of things, or even any area of the sponsorship to the event would help greatly.
Yeah, and so again, we're trying to find a need, trying to find a way to fill the need of what's in the community. At the same time, we want the community to come to us and go, here is the need, here is my need. Oh, and by the way, I can help sponsor this. I can help donate this. Because quite frankly, it's hard to do these things without the money that it takes or the supplies that it takes. Just the woodworking stuff. Donation of wood would be fantastic, right?
Yeah,
to be able to see how well somebody can build a frame, like we saw in those pictures earlier. Framing up houses, framing up buildings. Those are things that are very, very necessary. But if we can have some people donate some wood, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Jay. And again, we see this individual right now just squaring off wood. We need wood to be able to do that, and anything that would be helpful to be able to help with that. Quite frankly, if we've got companies, you kind of mentioned Snap-on, it made me think they're a tool company. Donate some tools for the competition that we can use these professional tools to be able to do that. We know that all these table saws and skill saws and all the things that are needed to do this kind of work. That'd be helpful. Levels, right? Squares, all of those things that we can use that are necessary.
Carpenter pencils, right?
Yeah, right.
I think there's an opportunity at most levels to be a contributor in one way or another, whether it's an idea for a problem to be solved, whether it's physically the supplies, the materials needed to put these competitions on. Maybe it's just that guidance that Jeremy was talking about. Right. To have a competition of irrelevant skill sets doesn't do anyone any good.
No.
But judges are desperately needed for these competitions. As Jeremy said, there's about 60 skill sets that are going to be showcased in this competition. And it's everything from, your nursing assistants, your basic health care, to welding. Who can judge a good weld? Look, we have some amazing welders in this community and the supervisors, and we know they know what a good weld looks like.
Yeah.
So having some judges in those areas would be very helpful. Some other areas are the electrical wiring and electronic technology, the HVAC, wiring for internet. Something we all use every single day is a skill set that's being trained through the systems. Of course, we just mentioned the video production. What a moving video that student was able to do last year, the devastation of Hurricane Ida on Ellender. But thinking about, can you help with job interviewing? It's not just hands-on skill sets, but also those soft skills. Someone who is a great interviewer, a great HR professional, coach, those types of things could really lend a hand So it's not strictly for straight up construction trades.
Right.
We've got to
Right.
look outside that box. You know, I think that's what's normally thought about in career and technical education, but there's so much more to it. You know, we want students and employees who have good soft skills as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't have somebody who's really, really great at a skill and they can't communicate or kind of
Exactly.
sell themselves, if you will. Those soft skills matter a great deal.
A great
Because we want to make sure that we do. I got about a minute left. Jeremy, some final thoughts.
Yeah, so job interview is actually a competition itself. We also tie in those soft skills into every competition. So they not only come in with their hand skills, but they come in with a resume saying, these are my skills that I can apply, so that they can tie those things in.
Okay.
Some of the other prizes, if somebody wants to help out, is gift cards, anything to kind of kickstart off their career.
Right.
You know, automotive, that's easy to think about. You can get some tools or something in.
Right.
You can even help sponsor their trip to nationals, because there is another avenue
Another layer.
beyond this state.
Right.
So gold winners go to Atlanta, Georgia in June to compete against all other 50 states.
Wow. Very
And
nice.
to get involved,
Right.
you can either call Lewis Miller Technical School
Right.
or reach out to TEDA.
Right.
We have the contacts to get your company involved with this effort.
Right. 985-851-1163 or Shelley Billiot at tpsd.org or Jeremy at SkillsUSA.org.
Yes.
Right. Thank you both for joining us today. Very much appreciated.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
All right. All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of TEDA Time, but don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.